Sofia Kitra doesn't allow multiple sclerosis to get in the way of work. She has a full-time job as an economist at the Supreme Court of Audit, and she's grateful that the government hasn't cut disability benefits, but the austerity crisis has meant a 40% cut in her salary, and spending on public hospitals has been so reduced they are too much of an ordeal for her.
I don't go to public hospitals anymore, so I have to pay everything. I pay much more for my medical tests. At the past, I paid nothing because I had a chronic disease. Now I have to pay 25% on that.
Government spending on healthcare fell by about half during the last 8 years. Thodoros Giannaros ran Elpis Hospital in Athens during the worst cutbacks. He gradually lost a third of his staff.
Our budget was about 21 million euros in 2010. When the Syriza government replaced me, our budget was 6 million euros, and we had only received half of that. We managed to treat everyone that came into the hospital because we attracted thousands of donations to cover the treatment for uninsured people.
Thanks to such economies, the government eliminated a $43 billion deficit and balanced the budget over 4 years. Very little of the money borrowed was earmarked to cushion the blow of those spending cuts. Greece has borrowed $360 billion from its Eurozone partners and the International Monetary Fund. Only about 5% of that has entered the Greek economy through government spending. 21% was spent recapitalizing the banks. And 3/4 of what Greece has borrowed was never intended for the Greek people or their banks, but to repay existing debt and serve interest payments. That's because if Greece had been allowed to go bankrupt, it could also have bankrupted the French and German lending banks. The Greek bailout was effectively a bailout of those banks. The problem now is that Greece has to repay the money, but its economy is too weak.
We're at a state where the tax system is not the proper tax system. It doesn't give incentives for people to work. It doesn't give incentive for capital to come in and invest. And you have a pension system that's not fixed either.
Chardouvelis believes Greece needs to be given the rest of this century to repay its debts, allowing the government to lower taxes and stimulate growth. And he says the government should introduce individual retirement accounts so Greeks can keep the money they save to retire instead of surrendering it to a system many don't trust. Psaropoulos, Al Jazeera, Athens.